Every crime hides a story, a tangled web of lies, desperation, and decisions that spiral into chaos. It's not just about what was done, but why it was done. The secrets buried in the aftermath, the whispers that linger long after the blood dries. Welcome to the place where every question demands an answer, and every answer leads to more questions. What drives two young men to destroy the very people who gave them life? Tonight, we will unravel the story of Erik and Lyle Menendez, a case where family secrets turn deadly. I'm Detective Obscura, and this is a case on the Menendez brothers. August 20th, 1989. 911 operators in Beverly Hills received a frantic call. Lyle Menendez's voice trembled as he screamed.
Someone killed my parents. Pardon me? Someone killed my parents. What?
When officers arrived at the Menendez mansion, they found Jose and Kitty Menendez dead. Jose's body lay on the couch, shot in the back of the head after being incapacitated by a shotgun blast to the knee. Kitty's body was riddled with bullets, her last moments likely spent scrambling for cover. The living room was a battlefield. Broken glass, blood spatter, shotgun shells. But as investigators combed through the scene, a chilling question emerged. Was this a random act of violence or something far more personal? Jose Menendez, a self-made millionaire, ruthless in business, and, allegedly, even more ruthless at home. Known for his exacting standards, Jose demanded perfection from his sons, micromanaging their every move. Friends described him as a man who exuded power and control. Kitty Menendez, a former beauty queen who lived in the shadow of her husband's larger-than-life personality. Friends noticed her growing instability over the years, emotional fragility, struggles with depression, and a growing dependence on alcohol. Lyle and Erik Menendez seemed to have it all: looks, wealth, elite education, and the promise of a bright future. But beneath the surface lay years of alleged abuse and trauma, secrets that wouldn't come to light until the brothers stood trial for their parents' murders. Jose was a domineering patriarch who demanded perfection. Friends described him as relentless and unforgiving. Kitty, by contrast, appeared to be unraveling under the pressure of their high society lifestyle. And the brothers? They were caught in the middle, their lives meticulously curated to meet their father's expectations. Or so it seemed. Erik and Lyle Menendez claimed to have spent the evening at the movies. When they returned home, they found their parents brutally murdered. But the brothers' statements raised more questions than answers. At first, officers explored the idea of a mafia hit. Jose's high-powered business dealings made him no stranger to enemies. But when forensic evidence and financial records surfaced, the trail began to lead in a different direction. Then came the spending spree. Within weeks of their parents' deaths, the Menendez brothers were blowing through their inheritance: Rolex watches, luxury cars, and even a personal tennis coach. Their behavior was anything but typical for grieving sons. The breakthrough came when Erik confessed to his therapist, Dr. Jerome Oziel, but this wasn't an ordinary confession. Erik's admission was recorded, and when Lyle found out, he reportedly threatened Dr. Oziel's life.
Erik told me that they saw the father as someone who was pretty much not possible to live with, that he was an emotionally dominating, tyrannical person.
During the trial, the Menendez brothers alleged years of SA at the hands of their father. Erik described being molested by Jose as early as age 6. He claimed that the abuse left him feeling helpless, ashamed, and terrified, a fear that permeated every aspect of his life. Survivors of child SA often experience profound psychological effects, notes Dr. G, a forensic psychologist. This can include dissociation, where the victim mentally separates themselves from the trauma, as well as heightened anxiety, depression, and even self-exit ideation. For Erik and Lyle, it's possible that the abuse shaped not only their actions, but also their understanding of the world as inherently dangerous. In court, Erik displayed classic signs of PTSD. When recounting his father's abuse, he frequently looked away, closed his eyes, and appeared visibly shaken.
And after it was over, were you still crying?
Yes.
These behaviors, Dr. G observed, are nearly impossible to fake.
Consistent with someone who has experienced serious trauma and has post-traumatic stress issues.
Lyle corroborated Erik's accounts, describing graphic and vivid details of their abuse. His emotions, though less dramatic, were marked by deep sadness and moments of visible distress.
How often would this happen?
Like 2 or 3 times a week.
Pacification behaviors, like covering his mouth or taking deep breaths, indicated genuine discomfort. But the question remains, could the alleged abuse explain the murders? Dr. G, a psychological expert, noted that Erik's actions and reactions displayed genuine signs of trauma, dissociation, discomfort, and anger while recounting his abuse. His behavior was consistent with someone suffering from PTSD. Lyle, too, painted a harrowing picture of their childhood. His detailed, non-dramatic accounts added credibility to their claims, but not everyone was convinced. Prosecutors argued that their tears were nothing more than a performance. But the brothers' menial movement still won't prevent us from seeing reality. The brothers didn't just kill their parents, they executed them. Buying 2 shotguns days before, loading and reloading them during the attack, and firing multiple times suggested premeditation. Psychologists have debated whether this level of planning contradicts the narrative of desperate survival. Could this act point to deeper psychological disturbances? While trauma might explain their rage, says Dr. Todd Grande, it's possible the brothers had underlying personality disorders or mental health conditions that exacerbated their actions. Potential mental health factors include borderline personality traits. Erik's dependency on his father and fear of abandonment could point to a personality disorder exacerbated by years of abuse. Shared psychosis, folie à deux. The brothers' close bond may have created a feedback loop, amplifying their paranoia and reinforcing the idea that killing their parents was the only way out. Despite the convictions, the case has continued to fuel speculation. Could the weight of the family's hidden traumas, the allegations of SA, emotional control, and relentless perfectionism have fractured the brothers' psyche so profoundly that it triggered a psychological collapse? Did these unresolved horrors fester into a breaking point, leading them to commit the ultimate act of betrayal as an escape from their father's oppressive shadow?
Again, the brothers said self-defense. The state said greed. Today, Reed Galen reports the jury said guilty of murder in the first degree.
The Menendez brothers were sentenced to life without parole for the murders of their parents. To this day, the case divides public opinion. Were they victims of unimaginable abuse or cold-blooded killers driven by greed? One thing is certain. This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about trauma, justice, and the human capacity for violence. But what do you think? Were Lyle and Erik products of their upbringing? Or was their defense merely a convenient excuse? The truth, perhaps, lies somewhere in between. If you found this case as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your theories in the comments below. Was this justice served, or a miscarriage of truth? And join us on the next video as we explore another chilling case that will leave you questioning everything.